Hi friends, in our time together today, I'm going to compare four Kerry Low D whistles. The Kerry Low D, the fixed head Kerry Optima Low D, the Busker Low D, and the Chieftain V5 Low D. Phil has also the Chieftain Custom, and I don't have one of those, sadly. And so I want to compare these, and I'm doing this today because I've actually promised a few of our friends who really wanted these compared and to hear the differences between them. And I've promised them I'd do this as soon as I could after we got back from our trip. So I'm doing it today. Normally I would introduce a tune today, but that'll be tomorrow. So anyway, I'm a fan of Phil and his work. We, as musicians, are spoiled for choice, which is good and bad, for all the whistles that are available to us, because they're available in different tone qualities, different volumes, different types of finger spacing, and different materials, just so many things. And I say that because from the outset, I want you to know that Phil makes whistles with a particular tone quality. He likes what he says is a bit of a sizzle in them, and it's a great tone. But you have to realize that Phil's not out there making every whistle for every person for whatever they want. He's out there making a particular whistle that you will love if that's the tone you want. So bear that in mind. And that's why I'm going to play all four of these. I'm going to play a scale. I'm going to play Foggy Dew because it does hit the range. And it's not too long. And because I want you to hear them. Overall, I want you to hear these whistles because that's what's so important. So what we're going to talk about is I'll play the scale on each of them, going from price points up. I'll play Foggy Dew. We'll have some comments, breath requirements, some tone difference comments, and then I actually also want to talk briefly at the end about hole size and hole spacing on these whistles. And I'm going to provide in the notes to this video the dimensions for holes 4, 5, and 6 on each of these whistles, because those are the ones we care about, right? And the whole spacing from a center to center standpoint. And you might think that hole diameter is not that big of an issue, but hole number 5 on a whistle tends to have the greatest variation, and that's true even on these that are made by the good folks at Kerry Whistles. So anyway, I will play the scales first, and now and then I'm going to have to stop the video or cut something out because two of these, the Kerry Low D and the fixed head Kerry Optima, even the tunable Kerry Optima is a resin head, and the Busker and the Chieftain V5 are both metal heads, and they need to be warmed up. And I also need to bring myself mentally and my fingers from one whistle to another, and my breathing as well. So first, scale and arpeggio on each, and I'm going to see how far I can go on a single breath. So the Kerry Low D. Now I have warmed each of these up a little ahead of time. And now the Kerry Optima fixed head, same thing. And so here we go. I think you heard that the Optima is just a little, has a little more sizzle than the Kerry, the Low D. And the Kerry D is one of the least expensive low Ds you can pick up, especially even with a metal body. And you could still, as you could hear there, I was able to get volume differences, which is pretty impressive. The Optima. I could get volume differences. The Optima feels like it wants to break into the octave a little sooner. And I'm going to warm up the Busker Low D and the Chieftain V5 Low D, and I'll be right back. I'm back. That was actually a couple of minutes. The Busker Low D and the Chieftain V5 both are tunable and have a metal head. I do have the tunable Chieftain. This is actually our friend Jonathan's Chieftain that he loaned to me. And Jonathan, thank you. Anyway, this is the Busker. Quick comment. The Busker is, Phil's not making this now, but I know recently he had some left, so you can contact Phil and see if he has any. Otherwise, you could pick it up used. That's why I included it, because it's still something you could find. So, and also from a tone quality difference, it's important to hear the different range of things that Phil's providing from Kerry whistles. So, scale on the Busker. The Busker, now based on the name, I would have thought the Busker was really loud. Like I've got the high D Busker, and you do not want to play that inside. This one is more gentle from a volume standpoint than I expected, but it does have a little bit more presence, and it has a little bit. I'm not even sure how to describe the tone. Let me hit that D again. It's a little more sizzly, and also if you push it, you can almost hear some oscillating of the sound waves through it. That's at least something I'm picking up. I don't know. So, we'll talk about some of the physical characteristics between these in just a minute. But now, this is the Chieftain V5. Same thing. breathe. I'd say the Chieftain has the least amount of the sizzle. It's a more gentle, mellow tone. It's also a little quieter than many of the others. It's interestingly, each of these four whistles are very balanced from bottom to top, and that's a good thing. But the Chieftain is the most relaxed. So what I'd like to do now, relaxed, I mean sort of the gentle tone, more mellow, so that you could hear. I'm going to play the Foggy Dew because it does hit the low D, and it requires you to go up into the second octave, at least up to the G. And this will give you a sense of more sense of the tone, and then we'll talk price and a little bit of physical characteristics between them. Alrighty. Now, Foggy Dew on the Kerry Optima fixed head. And now, the Busker, the Foggy Dew. And finally, the Chieftain V5, the Foggy Dew. couple of comparisons. I do want to show you the holes, and like I said, I'm going to put the spacing there on in the notes. Trying to get these lined up. My apologies for the extra noise. So you can see the hole spacing is very, very similar, but you could see some variation in that fifth hole. And the Busker, that's this one, has a fairly large fifth hole. Again, I'll put those dimensions in the bottom. So if you have thinner fingers, I have thinner fingers, I'm able to cover it, but I did have to get that figured out. Now, thinking through the appearance of the heads, because the heads where a lot happens. This is the Kerry D, and that is a very straight, not too wide airway. The Optima, interestingly, has a slightly wider airway. Sorry, I don't want to drop one. So if you could see that, it's a little wider on the Optima, but the entire head is a little more narrow and pushing a little more. And actually, I found that the Optima, none of these four whistles really requires a lot of air. The Optima may require about the most, but it's not a problem at all. So the Busker, the head of the Busker, probably resembles in some ways the Kerry a little bit more. They are very different whistles, but again, a flat airway, a shorter. This is actually shorter and a little bit more focused, and the Kerry's like that too. It's a little longer on some of Phil's other whistles, but then if you're an MK Pro player, you'll recognize that curved airway if you can see it. It's not really picking up well. So curved airway there. And a lot of people, if I've heard them complain about the Chieftain V5, it's that rounded head. Some people say if they, sometimes you've got to move the whistle around in your mouth, and if they move it too much, you start actually creating a gap there. I've not had that trouble. Again, every whistle's different for every person. So that's a rounded top. Looks, I'm not saying it's an MK Pro copy at all, because Phil wouldn't, I don't think Phil would do that, nor would MK Pro, because it's just very similar. The whole pattern on each of these whistles, remember I said that the spacing's pretty similar. I matched it up with some of my other Low Ds, again, like the MK Pro, and it's again very similar. So if you have some issues with that stretch, you're going to have issues with any of these. But again, that's pretty traditional. I think every one of them is lovely and slightly different in what they do. And I hope you heard some of that in the tone. I don't want to say, there's no reason for me to tell you my preference. It's important for you to hear. They're all play fairly easy, top to bottom. I could pick up any of the four and play the high B and the high C and the third octave D, just without even working at it. So each one's very easy. Now, I've had some of you say to me, I own one of those and I don't like it. Name any one of the four. And I've had some of you say, oh, it's my favorite whistle I've ever owned. So I'm not here to say you should get one above the other. I'm here to say, listen to these things. And they all play fairly similarly. So money. The Kerry D, that's this one. And I'll put a link to Phil's, the Kerry website. That comes in at £49.99. It's a steal for a Low D whistle. Now, it is not as, it's very expressive for like the cheapest metal Low D on the market that you're going to get that's made from a major manufacturer, and I'm sure I'm wrong there, but it's I know there are others. Please tell me. And that'll help out a lot. Anyway, that is $66.91 at today's exchange rate. I know it. Exchange rates vary. The fixed head Optima is, at the time of this recording, 79 pounds, $105.75, and the tunable is 129 pounds, $172. The Busker, you're going to have to contact Phil and see if he has any, and otherwise I'm sure you'd probably be able to pick up one in the used market, and Phil may even get one in used. Remember to sign up for his videos, because that's where he says when he's got some seconds and factory seconds and used things. The Chieftain V5 is the fixed head Chieftain, is 99 pounds, which is $132.52 at today's exchange rate. And the tunable, that's this one, is 175 pounds, $234.35 at today's exchange rate. And again, I can't tell you that you're going to be happy with every one of these, because every whistle is something different that somebody wants. I've had some of you, like I said, I've had some of you say, oh yeah, I own a Chieftain, I don't like it, and I love the Busker. Or I've got that Kerry D and it's the only thing I want. Or I got the Kerry D and So it's very different. Or you might not even like the Kerry whistle tone. You might want another whistle. Again, that's why there's so many manufacturers, so many wonderful people. So anyway, that's kind of that. And I'm going to give a better introduction to the Chieftain in an upcoming video in the near future, because I've got to give this back to Jonathan at some point. Aw. Anyway, I hope this helps you, my friends. If you're deciding between one of these four whistles, I hope that hearing them, they all play well. I'm not having troubles playing any of them, but then I'm okay with the piper's grip. If you have hand stretch issues, you probably want a different whistle. But if you're okay with the piper's grip and you like the tone of these, then this might be, one of your favorites. We'll see. Let me know your thoughts, friends. Until next time, this is Scott Shade. Happy Low D whistling.